everyone, and today we're going to talk about... I start like this every time, but this is a little more serious of a topic. This is a little more serious of a topic than stuff that I've covered before. This is something, once again, near and dear to my heart, but it's about self-hate in the practice room. So, when we go practice in a practice room, a lot of people I know, they'll say, wow, I suck. Or they'll just say horrible, negative things about themselves and their playing abilities. And it always bugs me because all the people that I know, they're hard-working musicians and they all sound fantastic. Like, I've been blessed. I'm surrounded by just wonderful musicians. And to hear people say such negative things about themselves and about their playing abilities and about the stuff that they've worked so hard on for so long really, gets to me. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. Hopefully it'll help us be a little bit less negative to ourselves in a practice room. My whole thing with Goofyeuph, with me, Abby, or whatever, the whole thing with Goofyeuph, my whole prerogative is to be positive and to be, kind and nice to everybody, including yourself. And again, I find a lot of people, friends of mine, these other musicians, they're just not nice to themselves. They're very negative. A lot of how we view ourselves, especially as musicians, comes down to how we treat ourselves when we're alone in a practice room. Whether you are a student or a pro, the way you talk to yourself or talk about yourself in the practice room can have a huge impact on how you view yourself as a musician and can even impact your playing. Now, for example, I went to school with a guy who decided against going to his dream school because he had missed a couple of notes on his recital. And it always upset me so much because he was one of the best musicians that I've ever known, and he denied such a fantastic opportunity for him to go learn with one of the greats simply because he was so hard on himself during his recital that, he just decided not to go. And if you miss a handful of notes, that's so normal, but to decide your future based on it, based on the fact that you don't feel worthy because you missed 5 or 6 notes over the course of your entire recital is just insane to me. Now, let's be clear. I'm not telling you to sit down and think, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, but I'm telling you that you need to just stop hating on yourself when you're in the practice room, or in any sense, really, but we're going to focus on in a practice room, musical setting. That's the words. So, what I like to do when I'm trying to come to terms with where I am musically and then what I need to work on next, if I'm ever having a particularly down or a particularly up day, is I like to sit down and write down everything that I'm good at and write down everything that I'm bad at. So make a list, make 2 columns. You have a column A, whereas, hey, I'm really good at this stuff. I'm really good at lip slurs. I really like to play the B flat note. I can play it really in tune. And, I know my B flat major scale, right? These are just examples. And then I write down the list of things that I'm not so good at. So, for example, let's talk about low register. Low register playing doesn't work well for me. I don't like it. Double tonguing. So I'm really not that good at double tonguing. I just never have been able to get it. Or, man, I really don't like the way my tone quality sounds. I really just don't like listening to myself play because I sound like a chainsaw to myself, and it's bad. So, good, you've written down everything. Now, the thing is that the positive side is you can find something positive about your playing. I have yet to meet a single musician, be it a person who's picked up a horn for the first time that day, or a person who's played every day of their life for 30 years. I've never been able to not find something positive in their playing. So you can find something positive about your playing. Write it down. You're gonna be fine. So, you have a list of positives. You have a list of negatives. You have a general scope of your playing ability as seen by yourself. What I do at this point is I go straight to the negative pile and I take them one by one, each thing, and I write down what I need to do to get better at each of these negative things. So, for example, I talked about low register not being my favorite thing. How can I get better at playing low register? Guess what? By playing low register. Take examples in the Arbenz books. Take those 20 measure things and just play them down the octave. I'm gonna need to charge my camera. Yeah, for example, just play them down an octave. And then when you get really good at it, play them down 2 octaves. You just gotta get used to playing in that register. When it comes to double tonguing, I'm no good at double tonguing. Let's say that. What am I gonna do to get better at double tonguing? Learn the correct technique for double tonguing, and then start doing it really slowly. You're gonna not sound so great at the beginning, but the way to get better at something is to practice it. So you practice the ka or the ga or whatever you use for the second syllable. And then eventually you add in the ta before the ka or the da before the ga. And you slowly work your way into being able to double tongue through these exercises. And then you go through double tonguing exercises. Guess what? You're getting better at double tonguing. And then the last example I used was like, oh, I don't like my tone quality. How can I get better at tone quality stuff? Long tones. Do long tones for 10-15 minutes a day. Record yourself doing long tones for 10-15 minutes a day. Listen back to yourself doing long tones for 10 to 15 minutes a day. When you hear yourself playing, your body's instinctively going to fix the issues in order to mimic the people that you like to listen to, and the good, better pro musicians that we like to listen to and use as examples. Dissecting the issues that we have with our playing and going through and writing down the exercises that we need to have to work on getting those issues better. That makes sense. And working on specific exercises that will help us get better at these issues is a very important part to, getting better as a musician. Now, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that we have issues, that we're not perfect, that we need to get better. The big thing is how we talk to ourselves in the practice room. I think the big thing is people, when they sit down in the practice room, they'll just say hurtful things like, oh, I hate my playing. I hate how I sound. Man, I'm never gonna get this right. It's just never gonna work out. No matter how long I play, I just can't get this key work to work for me. Gosh, I'm just terrible. And I don't think a lot of people understand just how much those words affect us. When you just sit there and you say, wow, I'm never gonna be able to do this, you're never gonna be able to do it. If you sit there and you say, wow, I really freaking suck at this thing, you're probably not going to get much better as quickly as you could if you were being positive about your issues. And the biggest thing that bugs me is when people joke about it and say you're in an ensemble setting and you miss a note. It's like, wow, I suck. Wow, I'm just the worst. Wow, I'm just never going to get this right. Haha, I just suck. It's okay. And it bugs me so much because I've never sat next to anybody in an ensemble and been like, oh, well, they missed a note. They just suck. They're never going to get it right. No, and being negative on yourself when you mess up to the point where you're hating on yourself isn't going to help anybody. It's not going to help the ensemble you're in. It's not going to help your stand partner. It's not going to help you get better as a musician. I guess what I'm trying to say is cut it out. There's nothing good that can come from telling yourself negative things in relation to your playing or anything really. The more negative things you say about yourself and about your playing, the more you might actually start to really believe it and internalize it. And cutting out the negative parts of that and the negative words and the things that you're saying that are hurtful to yourself, the more you say those things, the worse off you might feel about yourself. A lot of the time, my professor likes to say to me, don't let yourself, don't say things to yourself that you wouldn't let other people say to you. So saying oh, I'm so stupid, or oh, I really suck at this, or whatever, it's just not gonna be any good. You wouldn't let anyone call you stupid, would you? You'd be upset by that. So why call yourself stupid? Or bad? Because odds are you're not. So cutting out the smack talk and being able to just sit down and analyze with a non-judgmental mind what you need to get better at as a player, as a musician, as a person, that's a huge skill, and it takes time. It's going to be hard at first. You gotta catch yourself every time you say something negative, but it's a skill that when you work on it, you will be able to get better, and you will be able to get better and be a stronger player faster, and you'll be a lot more efficient, and you'll just feel a lot better. You'll be a lot better in the heart and the mind, and you'll be more positive about life. It's a very important skill to learn, I find. I'm not telling everyone to go out and just be like, oh, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I'm saying, you're also not the worst thing that's ever happened to the instrument. You're also not the worst person in the world just because you missed a note or two. You want to get better. You're in the practice room you're in the practice room for a reason getting better. It's important that you don't bring yourself down as you're working on these things. I've never seen a pro sit down and go, oh wow, I suck. No, and odds are they didn't do it when they were younger either, or they got over it because they don't do it now. And just because you're not a pro not a pro yet, doesn't mean that you should talk to yourself that way. So don't be so hard on yourself. You're working, you're getting better. And even if it's a slow process, you're still working, you're still getting better, and everything's gonna be okay. So you have to learn how to trust the process to getting better. You have to be patient with yourself as you're getting better. It can be slow. And you have to be able to analyze the things that you need to work on with a non-judgmental mind in order to remain positive and keep going. So yeah, next time in your practice room, catch yourself saying all the negative things about it if you do that, and try and stop it. Try your best. And even if that's a slow process as well, once you get better at it, you'll start to feel better, and I can promise that. So, thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, if you guys have any comments or any ideas that I should talk about next, please leave a comment down below. As a reminder, I have a Patreon page. If you guys want to support me in any future endeavors, please consider going to my Patreon page and signing up. It would really, really just mean the absolute world to me. As you can see, I have one current Patreon. I know him personally, and he wanted a shout out. Hi, Noah. So yes, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out my Instagram, my Twitter, and all that stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy practicing.